Welcome to the We Are All Dying podcast. I'm your host, Jenna Goodhand, and my hope is that through these conversations, we become more comfortable, competent, and confident talking about death. On today's show, we have Veronica Antipolo, and we go in a number of different directions in a very lighthearted but deep conversation about death and how it shows up with the living, with those who have left us. Thank you for tuning in to this conversation. Veronica, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here to talk about death.
I bet when you woke up this morning, first you thought, I'm grateful to be alive. And then you thought, I'm so grateful I get to talk to Jenna about death today.
Yeah, I literally was like, oh, look, I get to talk about on a Thursday morning. Yeah. No, I think this topic's fascinating.
I will let you know it's Wednesday, so you just gained another day of life. So that's awesome. I love when that happens. It's the worst when it happens the other way and you like lost a day, but you just gained one. So
Close. I was close.
I love it. Okay, well, I love to start these conversations by just taking a little bit of a time travel back to maybe some of your first experiences with death or how you feel death kind of shaped your earlier moments. Anything stick out?
My first experience with death of someone close to me, because I feel like when you see it in the news and stuff, it's, you don't think of it. I think I was 19. And it was my uncle. It was everyone's favorite uncle, Uncle Jack. I think he had stomach cancer. I can't remember. And I was working at I don't know if you remember this, Eaton's. It was this department store. And everyone was like, let's go meet at the hospital and go by his hospital bed and be there for his last moments.
Mm.
And I skipped out. I was like, I sat in. It's terrible, but I said, I'm working. And I remember it was just like, I knew that they disapproved, but I don't know. It was just too close to me. I couldn't, I feel like it was a selfish move looking back, but at the same time, I don't know. I didn't have the capacity to really process that. To process seeing someone slip away, not necessarily his death because it was imminent because of his illness, but it was specifically that I was like, I'll show up obviously for the viewing, the funeral, all of that, any support that my family needed and before that. But that specific moment where it's like, let's gather and watch him slip away, I was like, I don't know. I don't know. My 19-year-old self could not do that. And
Mhm.
I've been there after for moments like that for other relatives. And I yeah, it's an odd moment.
Do you think do you think it's an important moment to the person who is not dying to be there for that moment?
I don't know. I still don't know. I f- and I often try to think of it by walking in their shoes. I think, okay, if it was me and someone close to me didn't show up, I don't know. I feel like it's such a finale to your life. That but it's not because it's not a show. I feel like there's a moment of I hope of such almost deep understanding before you pass from this life that I don't know. I feel like I would understand. I would like it, I think, but I also feel like I would understand that there's something more than just that moment. I don't know. I guess I'll find out,
Mhm.
but I won't be able to report back. Or maybe I will. I don't know.
I guess that's where the haunting comes in, right?
Yeah, exactly. Watch out for it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, so that was sort of like an experience in how do you play a role in the death of someone? Um,
Right.
yeah. Is there any other kind of moments that stick out in how you viewed death since then, or even how you viewed your life?
Yeah, Well, just last February Family Day, my stepdad passed away, and same thing, we knew it was imminent, we knew it was coming that weekend, but nothing prepares you for the moment. If you're lucky, I don't know if that's the right choice of words, if you happen to be there for that moment, and it wasn't like a great moment because had a huge fight with my mom 20 minutes before he passed, and I think we both carry guilt. I do, of, like, maybe that fight he heard it and he was like, "I'm out of here. Peace out."
Mm.
Um, I I don't know. I don't have any more insight. I think that's what's interesting about death is I think we spend life, like, thinking about it at different points and maybe having different reflections on it as we age, as we all hurtle towards death. Um, I think we all think of it in terms of age, which is interesting because it could literally happen anytime. I don't have any more insight on like that space of time when that happens. Has it changed? I don't know. I think the only thing that's changed is that I'm willing to be present for it. It's not about me being uncomfortable, but maybe there's something there in my presence. There's something weird about death where the person you love is passing, but it becomes about your existence.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I don't know. I still don't know. It's such a mystery.
Mhm. And so, okay, so your mom's partner dies.
Yeah.
How how did that change your dynamic with your mom, with the family?
My buffer is gone. My I as someone who has never been in a relationship as long as they were, I think they were together for 41 years.
Oh,
I took for granted the dynamics of a family. Um, I think there are people who contribute to a family that have their role, whether they want that role or not. And so when he passed, it was like I didn't know how it was going to change, and it's definitely changed. And all the time I think about him because I have his watch, and it always sets off an alarm at midnight. So every night at midnight, I always think, yeah, give me a clue. Like, how am I how do I do this? Because I don't know how to have a relationship with my mother, I've realized, without him there. Um, and so I'm like, I hear this alarm and I'm just like, give me something else. Give me another sign. Uh, and I know she struggles with it too, but I can't control how she finds her peace with it or how she deals with it. And so as I'm dealing with it, it's it's been hard to remember that she's dealing with something too.
mhm.
And all we just have is conflict. Conflict, conflict, conflict. It's terrible.
I wonder if the, the chime at midnight is kind of this reminder, like the day is done, new day starts. Sort of just like new day, one day at a time. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think when it chimes, that's interesting. When it chimes, I always forget about it, oddly enough, and, so every time at midnight, I'm like, "I have to fix that." I don't know how to fix this watch. I could look it up. It means different things, different nights. Some nights, it's like it's comforting because I feel like if something has happened in the day, I feel like when I hear that chime, he's here with me somehow. Sometimes it becomes a wish for me. I'm like, "I wish you were still here to be that buffer and just here in general. And sometimes it's just, you know, it's just like a nice to know that it's almost like it's nice to know that someone's in the same room, even if you're not. It's like that comfortable silence that you have with like good friends or people you're really close to. It means different things every night.
Love that. Love that. So, okay, let's chat about, the people who are still with us that are not with us. So that's a very like, yeah, that's not just like an honoring of someone. That's like including them. They're still a part of your life, like every day. Is there other ways that you have other people in your life that you continue to have relationships with, even though they've died?
Yeah, my grandmother. So my grandmother, yeah, it's like she's my guidepost. I use her. I do though. So, um, I think because I grew up with her until I was 12. And so I didn't realize until later. She died, I think, when I was about 30. Um, and I wrote a story about her that I perform once in a while. And I realize now that a lot of who I am is very much a reflection of her. And so I actually use it if I'm, say, trying to figure out what I'm supposed to be doing in life, like just life, or if I'm trying to figure out what to do in terms of business, and guiding me like, what do I do now in terms even like a client? Like, I'm not joking. And so I have a picture of her and it's beside this sort I have like a mission statement to keep my to keep a reminder of what my values are so that everything aligns to it, whether it's like what I do in life or even the sort of clients I take on or the partnerships I do in business. And I'll forget that the picture's there. It's always there, but I'll look up and I'll see it's there. And somehow it could be just me needing an excuse, but I always feel like it realigns me. It reminds me, um, there's more than just, you know, getting a dollar for the sake of a dollar, and that having values tied to what I do is is more valuable. So she's she's my business partner, my silent
The
business
silent
partner.
business partner. Yeah, I love that. That's fantastic. Do you have anyone in your life that has died that you have like a conflicted relationship with that you find challenging to,
I
to
sure do. Last year, my aunt also passed away. It's my mom's sister. And I don't know, she was just one of those aunts that I was like, "Okay, cool." She gives us presents and stuff, but it was always presents that we hated. Um, I remember one Christmas she got us like velour sweaters, but it definitely was not a year that velour sweaters, if they ever were actually in style. Um, and then she like, I kept saying I couldn't hide it. I was like, "I don't like this." And so she exchanged it for a chenille sweater. I was like, "Oh god, this is worse." And then she eventually just gave us a gift card. Anyhow, it's always been sort of I think it's just her personality and my personality did not mesh well, and, um, but in her death, or even the time leading up to it, because she again was ill. It's funny, when she passed, I don't remember how long after. There was something that happened, I don't know what it was, but I remember thinking, "Actually, maybe I'm not that different from her." And it was strange because I don't think I would have admitted that, or I would have totally denied it, strongly denied it, um, in as she was living, but in death, I could see the connection to her, and how I was similar to her in that way. I still recognize that not necessarily my person, but I don't know, I could see the influence, whether I perceived it as a negative or positive. Um, and similarities to me, and I don't know, it was just strange because she had a lot of people show up for her, and it made me think of, you're definitely not gonna please everyone in your life, the way you do things, the way you are, but there are people there for you if you're lucky, actually, if you're I have to
Mhm.
throw that in. If you're lucky, you have people there for you. 'Cause I've been there for another relative's, funeral where he was, like, acid, and we had to, have crowd fillers.
Wow.
Like the Oscars. We had
Wow.
seat fillers.
Mhm. Yeah,
Um,
interesting.
but again, in death, or in the moments and times leading up to his death and in death, I I gained, like, a softer perspective of him as well.
Mhm.
Um, but I do recognize that in life, I would have been like, "No, sorry, I have no tolerance." And do I would I carry that through if, say, magically they rose from their graves? I mean, would have that appreciation, I think, in my heart. I think, though, that I am realistic enough to say, "Eh, I would have spent a lot of time with you."
Yeah, it's so interesting, the stories that we tell ourselves when someone dies that
Yeah.
are not reflective of the story that we've been carrying. And I love that that you just brought up, like, if he were to come back, like, surprise, didn't die, you're like, well, which story now? Because, yeah, I mean, there's oftentimes someone, a family member usually, where they just, maybe there was like horrific circumstances between like a parent child or something. The parent dies, and then all of a sudden the child is, devastated and is talking about all the wonderful things of that parent, where, as like a side character, you've known it to be an awful relationship. And it's always been so interesting to be like, wow, the fact that this person died allowed this person to see all the good. Um, was there good? I don't know. Does it outweigh at this
Yeah.
point because it's over? Um, and how can we use that tool, or maybe that thought exercise, to actually like heal or navigate things now, before people die? I think a lot about that stuff too. And yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and I think that's what I'm thinking of too, specifically was when I think about the impending death of, say, like, my mother and I have a difficult relationship.
yeah.
I don't know if this is sadistic, but anyways, when I think about, eventually she's gonna pass, and I think, should I have more forgiveness for her? Should I be more understanding? Should I be more that should? And I don't know,
Mhm.
because I almost am just like, I'm just gonna leave it for that time that I'll have more, like, I'll have this softer perspective of her. But in life is life is different from death. Obviously, it's very different, and I there's only so much I can do with my living relationships. I don't know, and I don't wanna carry the guilt of, like, "Oh, when she's gone," because I think I've had other, family members say that, specifically her sisters say, "When she's gone," and it's like, yeah, I get it, like, I get the meaning of that, I get it, the concept, but living is a whole different thing.
Mhm.
And actually, I think maybe that the way I handle my stuff, um, while we're both living, maybe will be influenced for that time in how I handle it, so that I can have that softer perspective. But if we continue to live as we do, I don't know. I really there's just everything is so unknown. We're basically just moving along,
Yeah.
and I don't know if we ever find that purpose. I like to think that it's in those last breaths. They say that, like, last breath is that I don't know, I've come to believe that maybe there's is something greater that you learn and understand in those last moments, and I'm just like, "Well, I'll just wait till I get there."
Yeah. Yeah, it's like finding the balance between, your mom is gonna die. We're all gonna,
Yeah,
but you can't make every day like this day you're trying to construct as though that was the day before she died and everything was sorted out, because that's just really not life. She could live another 40, 50 years, who knows? And
oh gosh.
you can't pause your life, right? And
Exactly.
in order to kind of navigate her death. And once someone's dead, they're dead. So they don't know the difference between what you kind of figured out and what you didn't.
Yeah.
It's also an interesting thing because we put so much meaning on these relationships, these core relationships, and honoring and respecting and working everything out. But sometimes I think, like you said, the best thing maybe for your relationship while you're both living is to have breathing room, to have
Mhm.
space so that you both can live better.
Yeah, because I don't want my life in relation to her to be, um, uh, impacted by the conflict between us.
Yeah.
And I wanna have a better perspective. I wanna have a better relationship, and relationship does not mean that we're holding hands and hugging and sitting beside each other and cuddling. It
Right.
can mean a variety of things. I mean, I have good relationships with lots of people, but we're not Siamese twins. Like, we're not, "I see into your heart." Like, it's not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, who knows? Who knows what will happen when that time comes? Maybe I'll feel an immense sense of guilt. It's just like this weird thing where I think death is like that 8 ball that we're shaking and like, "Okay, give me an answer," but it really I mean, you really don't know what's gonna happen. It's just an 8 ball that you're trying to make this thing to predict what's gonna happen or how you're gonna feel or tell you how to feel or how to live.
Yeah. That
Death is an 8 ball.
Yeah, I think that your insight is going to be so helpful to so many people in their relationships. I really appreciate you going into some of that stuff. Um, when you think about your own sort of, you know, your own death, the time up before your death, is this something you think about? Is there something that's important to you that you'd like to do or that you imagine happening when you die?
Yeah, I do. I do think about my death. I think about, I think we all hear it at one point in our life is that live your life basically imagine people coming to your funeral, memorial, whatever, and what they would say about you. Um, and I feel like now I definitely think about that all the time. I'm like, "Well, what would I want people to say?" And I take that advice so literally. I don't even know where that advice came from. It's like that weird they. Um, I don't wanna have, like, a sad, um, funeral or viewing, whatever. I I wanna give people space to do that, yes. But what I do want is a true celebration with music and food and the best pictures of me. I've already told my friends, I'm like, "Listen, if some relative tries to step in with some picture of me, I'm like, please, these are the ones I'm picking. These ones right here."
Yeah.
Um, I don't wanna be like open casket. My family is really fond of open casket regardless of what. Like, why? I don't wanna be remember I don't want that to be the last thing burned into your brain. Um, and I don't want some weird makeup artist to give me really bright pink cheeks. Like, it's just, "I'm gonna do this performance in my casket for you." Um, like, look like Liza Minnelli as I am over into the afterlife. I want people to remember what I was trying to what I was trying to, I think, share with them. Um, I don't know how that can be captured in my memorial when I'm obviously gone because I'm leaving it with the people behind. Food is very important. I want I don't want, I don't I wanna be cremated. I'm just like, "Just throw me out into the wind or something. Don't keep me on a shelf." I would hate that. First of all, I hate being just kept on a shelf in a container now, so why the heck would you do that in my afterlife? No, just throw me out into the wind, make sure you don't get a fine.
Yeah.
Um, I I want there to be a legacy. Um, if it's wealth, great, but that's not what I mean. I think I want, like, a legacy of there's something that I imparted, not because I'm wise, but, like, even if it's through my mistakes, if there's something that resonated with you in my mistakes or whether it was my successes, whatever, um, I want people to, I don't know, not necessarily, like, hold it and remember it like a bumper sticker. I just I just I just wanna know that there was an impact. It sounds selfish, but I don't know, what's the point of life if you're not having an impact somewhere? And
Absolutely.
it's reciprocal, and I don't mean it in a very one way, like, "I'm a motivational speaker now, and this is what I'm gonna do for you." No, I mean it in a very, reciprocal way,
Mhm.
because if all those people that show up for me, um, impacted me, then I'm hoping that I was able to do the same for them.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. You're a storyteller and you're so
I
good
know.
with your words. I'm trying to think if there's like some activity or thought exercise we can kind of leave listeners with about maybe writing a story about death. I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot, but I don't know if there's like a writing prompt or something that you think we could share that would get people to write about death in some capacity.
It's funny because I always think about, like, who would I want to lead that eulogy? Like, who's that person? Because, I'm like, let's be honest, you're like, "Okay, if I had the choice in my afterlife," I'm like, "I don't want that person to speak because 1, they're a terrible speaker, or 2, it's like, that's not the person I want to represent me." Because now it's like your PR rep after you're
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
Um, and so I often think about it like, ghost writing their eulogy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
like that.
yeah. But then what it turns into is when you're ghost writing your eulogy is it becomes this exercise about like, you can't help but tie it. So then if you're writing your own eulogy for someone, if you're ghost writing it, it becomes very much about, okay, what does that mean in the now? Like, how do I embody what they're going to say about me? So there's a prompt. What if you were to ghost write your eulogy, what would you say?
Yeah.
So basically, how do you wanna live your life now so that that becomes true?
Mhm. Absolutely. Yeah, it's been interesting having these conversations because it's almost like building in, like you get your oil changed every so many kilometers, like you get, like all the things that you do in your maintenance of your life. And I was thinking, I really have to start scheduling like yearly updates of my death planning, right? Because
Yeah.
you don't know what's going to happen, but also I don't know about you, but like I feel like I'm constantly changing my ideas around that as I get more information, as I have more conversations. And I think it'd be really funny to have like different versions of like your death plan.
Yeah.
Not in the like the will sense, which probably won't change that much, but like, what you want to have happen at your memorial. And just like as technology advances, like there might be some pretty cool ways that we can do things with our bodies so I can continue. So yeah, I like that idea of like writing your eulogy and then rereading it every year and being like, how close am I to this person? Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
I do something similar. It has nothing to do with death. There's this website, it's called, futureme.org, and you write yourself an email, your future self, um, And you could like, I know you can write it in a journal and they have stuff at like the bookstore and you can, you put it in an envelope or you could send an email to yourself and just, date it to send at whatever time. But the reason I like this website is because it's gone. Like it's not kept anywhere. So you can't cheat and go back. And I usually do it around New Year's Eve every year since I think 2009. And I always think I'm going to remember what I wrote, or I'm always going to remember that I wrote it. And funny enough, I never remember that I've written it. And so I'll get like, and I never send it exactly on New Year's anymore. I'll send it like before or after, just so I keep surprising myself. Um, and I'll get the email. And it's such a strange experience because, they always say time will heal or, don't worry, things will change. This is such a very, tangible way of experiencing that because I always read it and I always look back at, like, past Veronica, and she's always very clearly a different person, and whatever she's described or whatever she thinks she's wanted to do that year, um, or been confused about it, and what she's hoped for and the stuff that's been really hard for her, it's always such I read it and I think, "That who is that?" Like,
Yeah.
I recognize it's me,
Mhm.
um, but a year into the future,
Yeah.
who she doesn't know who that person's gonna be, which is now me. It's always interesting to look back and see what I didn't think was possible, but actually was, and also how my perception of the future was imagined. It really just was imagined. And, you're basically I guess maybe that's what life is you're just chasing your imagined
Mm.
dreams because you could call it planning all you want, but really you're just imagining stuff in the future and
Mm.
throwing the dice.
Yeah. Shaking that 8 ball.
Yeah. Shaking the 8 ball.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. Are there any other parting words that you'd like to share with listeners about death, life, anything?
Look, you can see my cat.
That's awesome.
It's so funny. It looks like she's sitting on my shoulder.
Oh, that's great.
Um, about death and life. There is one thing about death that has impacted my life, whether I get along with that person or not, is that I always try and do say spend time with my friends. My friends are very much my family. I don't take that for granted because anything could happen at any time. And so, I mean, I'm not obviously perfect. And I'm like, oh, this week I'm going to be intentional about this. But when I do remember, I am very intentional about trying to make moments with the people that I love because there is a time where it will just be gone. Um, and I don't, that's one thing I don't want to regret in either theirs or my death, assuming I carry guilt with me. I don't know. Do I carry guilt with me after death? I'm not sure.
There's only so many coffee dates you can have or memories you can make, and
Yeah,
you want to maximize that.
definitely.
Uh,
Yeah. I mean, that's it. It
uh,
feels like very anticlimactic.
but you know what? I think that's something that I'm kind of getting to in these conversations is that it doesn't have to be some, you know, graduation speech or, Oprah's wisdom. Like, spend time with people that you love, make memories, you know, have some sort of vision of where you'd like to go before that. And just don't forget that. Just don't forget that you're dying. and find the
Don't
balance
forget. Yeah.
of that in your life.
Yeah. It's strange because it feels so simple for something that we're so obsessed with.
Yeah. And so afraid to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. If I can come back in my afterlife, I'll be sure to follow up with you.
I don't
How
die.
creepy.
Yeah. I guess we'll just wait and see what happens.
I'll just wait. Oh, wait. Well, schedule me in.
Yeah, there's dead people watching this right now being like, oh, they're so wrong. Like,
There's a,
no,
yeah, probably. Yeah.
yeah, they really got it wrong. So, oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that's really interesting to me too, actually, is that is there like a sense of consciousness after are we dead? Like, I don't know, are we dead? It seems so weird that we're just boom, that's it, cut off, like curtains down, everything, because it's just strange. Like there's so much in people besides this shell. And
yeah.
it just seems to me, I'm like, no, that can't be it. It's weird.
Like, where does it go? Where
Where
does it?
does it go?
Yeah.
Is it right here beside me? It's like, yeah,
Oh, so
find
good.
out.
Thank you so much for coming on and having this chat. This was so much fun. So much insightful things that you shared. Like, I can't wait to listen back to this and think about it in my own time and space. And appreciate that you're sharing this with others.
Thank you for this.
I want to thank you for listening to the conversation between myself and Veronica today. If something in this episode spoke to you, please have a conversation with someone in your life while you have the opportunity to. The intent of this podcast is not for likes or views or shares. It's to get all of us to start talking about death while we still have the chance.